What up? T-Bob here.
And Jake as well.
And look at you. You done stumbled upon little OTB Saints, where we bring you all the latest black and gold coverage.
Who are the Saints going to draft? Who's going to be their quarterback? What does the salary cap look like? All that information and more.
Hope you enjoy it. Like, subscribe. So let's talk then a bit about the New Orleans Saints, because what's going on with Shedeur Sanders right now is very interesting. And it appears to be intrinsically tied to New Orleans. We all know Cam Ward is going 1 overall, correct? It appears that Cleveland is terrified of their ability to draft quarterbacks. And so they are saying that they're putting it out there, at least, they will not be doing so. And they will likely be taking Abdul Carter. And look, Carter and Myles Garrett on the same team, in theory, should be absolutely terrifying. Now, Myles Garrett already is absolutely terrified. It hasn't meant anything to Cleveland. I don't know if it's going to mean anything, but I do appreciate Cleveland's just absolutely, they've just been, they're broken. Their spirit is broken when it comes to quarterbacks. And they know, like, if we just don't trust Shedeur Sanders enough to want to take that risk when Abdul Carter's right there. And I actually fully understand that. Because the thing about Shedeur is he's a good quarterback prospect. He's not a great quarterback prospect. Probably, to be fair, I probably would have said that about like Bo Nix last year too, and he ended up being pretty, you never quite know at that position. It's a weird position. But I understand taking Abdul Carter there. The Giants, you would think, okay, well, they need a quarterback. They'll go Shedeur at 3. Well, they just signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Seems like a lot of commitment to then draft a quarterback at 3 overall and have him sit behind not 1 but 2.
Yeah.
Different guys. And then you start to run down the list, and nobody else appears to have any interest in Shedeur until you get to the New Orleans Saints at pick number 9. A team that, in theory, should be in the market for a first-round quarterback, especially if it's the second quarterback on the board. Like, second quarterback on the board in any given draft. I mean, that's, most of the times, that's somebody that you would be getting excited for. And it appears that Dion is kind of reading the chess pieces the same way as he's been talking about the New Orleans Saints. He's been talking about how when he points to Colorado's black and gold logo, how much he likes the colors. He posted pictures on Instagram of him talking to Saints quarterback coach Scott Tolzien and Keith Williams, wide receiver coach. He's been pushing the Saints hard. Now, the question is that because he legitimately wants Shedeur to go there, or does he think that the Saints want Shedeur and he's getting excited about it? Or does he think that if he gets past New Orleans, who knows how far he will end up falling, and that he's trying to incentivize some other team by trading up with or ahead of New Orleans, saying, look, if you want Shedeur, you better get before the Saints because they want him.
I don't think he wants the fall if he doesn't go to the New Orleans Saints. So if the Giants, like you said, if they pass on him, I don't think the Raiders are going to give Geno Smith that type of money and select Shedeur Sanders. I think Ashton Genty's probably going to be the play there. So if he doesn't go to New Orleans, he's not going to Chicago, San Francisco, Dallas, Miami, Indy, Atlanta, Arizona, Cincy, Seattle. I mean, I could continue to go on and on and on. Tampa.
Would he make it all the way out of the first round?
Maybe the 21, the Steelers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So if he doesn't go 9, he's going to have to wait possibly, unless the team trades up, which they certainly could do if they really like him, but he's going to have to wait. And so as we start to see what the fit might be, it looks like with the moves that those teams have made at 3 and 6, so if it wasn't going to be the Browns, and the Browns seem like they're going to take Carter or Hunter at 2, then I think he realizes it's got to be the Saints, or he could last until 21.
So he definitely has a lot of personal incentive in pushing this idea of Shedeur to the Saints. The thing is, though, I'm not hearing a lot about the Saints being all that interested in Shedeur, which maybe I feel a bit conflicted about. simply because we have we have made much of the fact that the New Orleans Saints have not drafted a first-round quarterback in 50 years. And so you're like, okay, well, wait a second here. You're telling me you have the chance to get QB2 in the first round? Like, why, without giving up any resources? Well, like, do you not need to at least roll the dice here and see what you have? And so I understand that. But again, at the same time, the NFL hive mind does not think Shedeur to maybe be worthy of a objective top 10 ranking, right? Removed of context of like who's on the board and everything else. Like there are players that you can say, okay, this is a top 10 talent any given year. That does not appear to be the case with Shedeur. But then again, to continue to just argue with myself, like you never know with quarterback, Jake. It's always a coin flip as to whether or not a guy's going to be good, even with the top prospects. So if you're the Saints, you haven't drafted a first-round quarterback in 50 years, Shedeur's there, do you pull the trigger?
I don't think you do. I don't know that he helps you in the near future right now.
Not this season, probably, yeah.
The way that you have structured this team and the contract that Derek Carr has, you have, I mean, just such holes in your offense with playmakers, in my opinion, that like if you drafted him, I'm not sure that he would play over Derek Carr right away. Okay?
No, he wouldn't.
Right? So, and you're not going to cut Carr. So you have that asset that's just sitting behind Carr. And Carr, as we talked about, I think it was Thursday last week, he needs weapons. He needs help. He's got to have somebody to help him. He is not a player that can do it and create on his own.
Yeah.
So if you take Sanders, that doesn't help you maybe for 2 years.
And Carr's still going to be awkward next year.
That's what I'm saying. So
as well.
Although, to get a first-round quarterback, to get somebody that has a high ceiling would be very exciting because it's been 50 years, but this doesn't feel like the year. Like next year's quarterback class, and with Carr's contract situation, okay, maybe you feel better about it.
Yeah.
But this isn't even against Sanders. This is more the direction of your football team. You need a receiver. You need playmakers. You could take one of these tight ends in this draft that's kind of a jack of all trades. You could take a game-changing running back if Ashton Genty is still there, if the Raiders don't select him at 6. You can, if you want to continue to bolster up the D-line, which is you spend a lot of time and effort there, if you want to go Mason Graham, if he's available, if you want to, Mickey Loomis, trade back and gain assets. Maybe you trade
maybe Deion Smokescreen helps in that regard.
Maybe you trade with Pittsburgh. Maybe they move up. I don't know that. I don't know that they would move all the way up to 9 because they're looking at the same thing we're looking at, that nobody needs a quarterback. But maybe you could drop back to 12 and pick up a second or a third round pick because you need that kind of help. Sanders doesn't help you now because of how you formatted the team. Again, this is not against him as a player. I actually think that he is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
So, I mean, to bring it back to where we started, you're not unlike the Browns in this regard. You basically are saying we have too many problems elsewhere, and our needs are such that almost without him being an overwhelming talent, that quarterback just can't be high enough on the priority list this year. If you're talking about the best way to build this team for this year. So, again, I get what Deion's doing. I think it's more about trying to stop the fall. Unfortunately, for all of his lobbying, I don't think the New Orleans Saints are that interested in Shedeur Sanders.
And honestly, they shouldn't be. Now, again, the way they formatted this is kind of taking them out. And if there was a generation, if this was one of those quarterback years where it's like, I've got 5 guys in the first round, and you had somebody fall to you, a couple years ago, if you loved Josh Allen and you were there at 9 and he fell to you, then you select him. This isn't that same situation. And there's receivers at this spot. I think there's going to be some tight ends at this spot. There might be a running back at this spot. And if none of those players are there and you don't want to trade back, would you rather have, Mason Graham? There's a couple of different.
That's kind of interesting. Like, Graham or Sanders or like.
If Jalen Walker's there, would you rather have Will
Johnson? Is he talking about?
He's in that kind of range. He's like 10 to 15, but again, personally, with what you have and the needs that you have, if you think about it, like trading back 3-4 spots, like think if you move back to 14.
Trading back would be perfect, but again, what's going to incentivize someone to want to trade up to 9?
It just depends on what's still available.
Yeah,
We've never seen, the draft always plays out differently than we think.
That's true.
But if you move back from 9 to 14 and Tedero McMillan sitting there at 14, if you get Tedero McMillan at 14 and then you get a second-round pick,
yeah, that'd be
compared
huge.
to, a quarterback that's going to wait for a couple of years.
No, I mean, that'd be huge. Hell, you could trade back and maybe still draft the quarterback. I guess unless somebody traded up to
Technically, you could, yes.
to pick him. So I would not expect it despite the noise, but it has created a very interesting dynamic with the draft just 3 weeks away. Wow, just amazing black and gold takes right there, Jake.
I don't think I've ever heard any takes that are better than the two guys that just gave you that take.
And you can keep getting them by going ahead and liking, subscribing, ringing the bell to get notifications when we post. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next OTB Saints.